So, if you're seeing this right now, I assume it's because you relate to the fact that we're all having a pretty rough time, especially if you're a young buck like me. Um, yeah, things haven't been looking good lately in terms of employment or where the economy or how society's going. I'm not too educated on how the entirety of the world is working, but just hearing from friends and family or the plethora of videos I see online about how much Gen Z is struggling, it's it's by a landslide. I I got hired last week. It's pretty good. I dropped off a resume at this liquidation store earlier in the summer. Actually, this was towards the end of summer, and I just heard back from them like 2 weeks ago. And they asked me to come in. I was like, sure. So basically, a liquidation store, for those of you that don't know, it's like taking old Amazon products, for example, and you're just offloading them and putting them in these big bins for people to come in at any time during the week and get them for a really cheap price. So chargers, clothing, board games, I think candy even. Yeah, all sorts of random tiny trinkets. So I got paid, but it was under the table. And I found out from other coworkers that some people get paid in the books, some people get paid under the table, some people get paid bi-weekly or weekly. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. At the end of the shift, I got paid $60 for 6 hours of work. 6 hours of work. $10 an hour, guys. That's where we're at. Um, so I took it, and the fact was, it got to 6 hours because the shipments were 2 hours late. So it was only supposed to be $40. It was only supposed to be 4 hours of work. So that happened. Afterwards, I text my manager saying, okay, so what time should I come in next week? Because they only have hours for one shift a week, of course. Um, and she says, I'll let you know when I know. I was like, okay. So Thursday night rolls around. I didn't hear back from her. So I was like, oh, okay. Back to searching, I guess. And I get a text the next morning at 9:27 a.m. saying, "Hey, we have shipments here. If you want to come in, that would be great." I respond at noon, so I wasn't awake for that. And I said, "Hi, I didn't hear back from you." So I assume that there was nothing for me to do or I wasn't needed that day. So she responds a minute later being like, "Oh, so you're not coming in?" I said, "I can be there in 20 minutes." She says, "Up to you." I'm like, "What's that supposed to mean?" Left on red. Interesting. Very interesting experience. So I woke up to that and I was just feeling eye rolling at this person, but also defeated, frustrated, stuck. I'm like, why is this happening? Why? It's a lot of mess going around. It's a lot of mess, a lot of rigmarole, my brother says. Um, so I decided to head down to my employment services and talk to my case manager because I've just been keeping her updated on my journey of finding jobs and doing odd jobs here and there. So I went in, I sat down, and I guess I didn't realize, or it began to hit me the more and more I word vomited to her about how bothered inside I felt. And it got to a point where I wasn't even saying too much. I was just sitting in silence with coffee there while she was typing away at her keyboard. And it felt nice, and it felt calming to know that you could just be in someone's presence. And I guess I had forgotten what it's like to be in someone's presence for a while. and just not even exchange words and to feel the comfort in that. Yeah, it's a tough time for a lot of us 15 to 24-year-olds right now. In July, this past July, we hit 14.6% of unemployment for our age group in Canada. I think about some of my friends that are working, but they have their own places. Their heads are probably just above water. I'm thinking about those that are unemployed, but they're being supported by their parents. Maybe it's just me, but every now and then I feel kind of crummy about just not being able to do much, but knowing that people are looking out for me. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do more. So, depending on where you are, or what situation you're going through, whether you're supported or unsupported, whether you're dependent or independent, it affects everybody. It affects everybody. And the healthiest thing I can think of right now is just finding someone's presence to sit in, finding someone to hang out with. It'd be nice to it'd be nice for us to be able to keep our heads not above water, but have the water be just below the waist. You know, when you're walking through at a water park or something like that, or a giant pool, and you can just get through. Like, there's obviously work there because there's work that needs to be done. You have to earn your ability to get out of the water. You have to earn um, getting through with a little bit of effort in order to get out of the pool. And that's what work should feel like. You know, you should feel that your paycheck is able to, yeah, I worked hard for this. It was stressful, but not too stressful where I felt that I wasn't getting anything out of it at the end of 2 weeks, you know? It shouldn't feel like the second week of a paycheck is making you feel like you're Steve Rogers in Infinity War. Just tired, grizzled, waiting for Friday again, and then struggling deciding between food or novelty things that'll make you feel a bit happy about the fact that you have a job, only for that feeling to fade away after buying something because the money's gone and there's not enough, you know? You should feel like you're able to pick between a couple novelty things and food and bills, but it's just not enough. And I'm seeing that a lot on the internet through jokes, through rants, tons of paragraphs. Yeah. I was pretty happy today to find out that a friend wanted to call. So they're going to call me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pretty excited for that. Just going to catch up. Just an old college classmate. And for some reason, I was just nervous that they didn't want to talk or they wouldn't want to catch up. And I don't know where that comes from. It just random intrusive thought just that became slightly anxiety inducing, but I'm okay now because she wants to talk. And I've just been finding other people to talk to on the phone, even for if it's for a small conversation, just childhood friends and all that stuff, just to pass the time, just to feel a little less alone. And yeah, I think that's something that helps keep my head up in these times. And I think it's definitely something that you can too. Know that you're not alone and that there is a whole bunch of us right now with their hands up in the air going, what the fuck? Um, yeah, I think going forward, I'm just going to try and come into the employment services once a week just to talk to my case manager, just to sit in silence with a cup of coffee. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do for the next little bit. And yeah, so I hope you could take something away from this video. And if you didn't, hopefully you could feel a little less alone. Yeah. Oh, also celebration, I made it to 50 subscribers. Pretty cool. Pretty neat. Pretty proud of myself. I started filming 2 weeks ago, and now we're here. So yeah. Okay. See you in the next one.